She didn't argue. She didn't explain. She spat on him, in front of everyone. Laughter broke out, phones came up, but the man didn't wipe his face. He didn't shout. He looked at her and said one sentence. The room went dead quiet. Her smile vanished. Her knees gave way, because in that moment, everything she believed about her power, her family, and herself was completely destroyed. Quick question. Should he forgive her after what she did? Type yes or nitrogen monoxide in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe because the twist coming next is unbelievable. The charity gala glittered with gold and arrogance. Crystal chandeliers reflected wealth from every angle. Laughter filled the air like background noise. The billionaire's daughter stood at the center confidently. Cameras followed her every movement eagerly. She enjoyed the attention without restraint. Across the hall stood a poorly dressed man. No one knew why he was there. His clothes were worn and faded from years of use. His shoes were dusty and mismatched. Guests whispered cruel assumptions about him. Some thought he was lost or begging. Others assumed he was staff who overstepped boundaries. He stood quietly, holding a folded envelope. His posture was calm despite the stares. That calm irritated her deeply. The billionaire's daughter noticed him staring briefly. She mistook his gaze for disrespect. Her friends laughed and encouraged confrontation. She walked toward him with practiced confidence. Music softened as tension rose subtly. Guests turned to watch with interest. She asked loudly who invited him. He answered softly but firmly. That softness enraged her. She mocked his accent and appearance openly. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Phones were raised to capture the moment. He did not respond defensively. Instead, he lowered his eyes respectfully. That silence felt like defiance to her. She demanded he apologize for embarrassing her. He said he had done nothing wrong. Her smile twisted into cruelty. Humiliation became entertainment. Security hesitated, unsure how to react. The billionaire's daughter raised her hand dismissively. She stepped closer until they were face to face. Her perfume filled the space between them. She looked down at him with disgust. Words failed to satisfy her anger. In a shocking moment, she spat on him. Gasps echoed across the hall. Silence followed instantly. The man did not move or flinch. Spit slid slowly down his cheek. Cameras zoomed in eagerly. Some guests laughed nervously. Others looked away in shame. The billionaire's daughter felt victorious. Power surged through her veins. She expected tears or rage. Instead, he simply looked at her calmly. That calm unsettled her deeply. She ordered him to clean himself. Her voice echoed sharply. He reached into his pocket slowly. Guests leaned in closer expectantly. He pulled out a handkerchief quietly. He wiped his face with dignity. The act felt deliberate and controlled. The room grew uncomfortably quiet. Something felt wrong to many observers. She demanded to know why he was there. She accused him of trying to scam donors. Her friends nodded eagerly. The man raised the envelope gently. He said he was invited personally. Laughter erupted at his claim. She snatched the envelope aggressively. She tore it open mockingly. Her expression changed instantly. Color drained from her face. The envelope contained legal documents. The crowd fell silent again. She scanned the pages hurriedly. Her hands began to shake visibly. The words made no sense to her. She laughed nervously to cover fear. Guests sensed a shift in power. She demanded he explain himself. He finally met her eyes fully. His gaze was steady and unafraid. He spoke his first full sentence calmly. He said her father knew exactly who he was. Murmurs rippled through the hall. She scoffed loudly at the claim. She said her father knew everyone important. He nodded slowly without argument. He said importance was not measured by wealth. That sentence struck harder than expected. The billionaire's daughter felt suddenly exposed. She ordered security to remove him immediately. Guards approached hesitantly. The man raised his hand gently. He asked for 1 minute to speak. His voice carried authority unexpectedly. The guards paused instinctively. Guests leaned forward again. He said he never intended to cause disruption. He said he came for justice, not revenge. The room froze again. She laughed loudly, masking panic. She mocked the idea of justice. She said poor men should know their place. Her words drew uncomfortable reactions. The man nodded soddily at her ignorance. He said arrogance blinded people. He said money could hide truth temporarily. Her laughter faded gradually. Unease crept across her face. The power balance shifted invisibly. He finally delivered the sentence. He said her real father was not the billionaire. Gasps exploded across the hall. Her knees weakened instantly. She shouted that he was lying. He said her mother knew the truth. Her mind raced violently. Guests stared in disbelief. Cameras captured every reaction. The man's calm made it worse. She screamed for someone to stop him. The crowd remained frozen. He said the billionaire adopted her unknowingly. He said documents proved everything. Her world cracked open publicly. Pride shattered violently inside her chest. She felt exposed and small. Her breath came in sharp gasps. The hall spun around her suddenly. Reality collapsed mercilessly. She demanded to see the documents again. Her hands trembled uncontrollably. The man handed them over calmly. Guests crowded closer carefully. The truth stared back from the pages. Her birth records contradicted everything she knew. Her name was different originally. Her mother's signature confirmed it. She felt physically sick. Laughter from earlier echoed cruelly in her mind. The billionaire entered the hall abruptly. Conversations died instantly. His face was pale with dread. He recognized the man immediately. Years of secrets resurfaced painfully. He ordered the cameras shut down. Security moved too late. The damage was already done. His daughter turned toward him desperately. Her eyes searched for denial. He could not speak. The billionaire confirmed the truth quietly. His voice carried regret and exhaustion. He said he discovered it years ago. He admitted hiding it to protect reputation. Gasps and whispers returned violently. His daughter collapsed into a chair. Tears streamed uncontrollably now. She felt her identity dissolve. The man watched silently without satisfaction. Justice felt heavy, not sweet. She asked who her real father was. Her voice barely existed. The man stepped forward slowly. He said her mother abandoned him for wealth. He said he searched for his child for decades. His voice finally cracked with pain. He said tonight was never revenge. He said he wanted truth acknowledged. The billionaire looked away in shame. The daughter felt her world implode completely. Guests exited awkwardly in silence. The gala ended in disgrace. Media headlines spread within minutes. The daughter sat frozen in shock. The billionaire retreated into isolation instantly. The poor man remained standing quietly. He had lost years he could never regain. Anger mixed with grief inside him. No celebration followed the revelation. Only emptiness filled the space. The night ended without applause or closure. The daughter stared at her reflection shattered. Her power vanished instantly. She remembered the moment she spat on him. Shame burned deeper than humiliation. She realized one sentence destroyed her world. But the story was not over yet. Consequences were only beginning. Truth demanded more than exposure. Fate prepared its final lesson. Morning arrived with unbearable silence. The mansion felt unfamiliar to her now. Servants avoided eye contact nervously. News headlines covered every screen. Her name trended worldwide. The gala footage circulated endlessly. She stayed in her room trembling. Wealth could not shield her anymore. Reality settled heavily on her chest. The billionaire summoned her quietly. His authority felt diminished now. He looked older than ever before. Regret weighed heavily in his posture. He admitted his mistakes openly. He said fear drove his choices. He apologized without justification. She listened numbly, without responding. Love felt tangled with betrayal painfully. She demanded to see the man again. The request shocked everyone. Security located him easily. He had not left the city. He arrived calmly without resistance. His presence stirred unresolved emotions. She could not meet his eyes initially. Silence stretched uncomfortably between them. Finally, she spoke with humility. Pride no longer protected her. She apologized for spitting on him publicly. Tears streamed freely now. She said she hated who she became. He listened quietly without interruption. He said apology was a beginning, not an eraser. He said dignity mattered, regardless of status. His words carried no cruelty. They carried painful wisdom. Shame transformed into reflection within her. Growth began painfully. He told her about her real mother. He said love was sacrificed for luxury. He said abandonment haunted him daily. His pain was raw and unfiltered. She realized wealth was built on loss. Her identity felt fragile but forming. She asked if he hated her. He said hate consumed too much energy. He said truth was heavier than anger. Compassion softened the room. Public backlash intensified quickly. Sponsors withdrew support publicly. Invitations vanished overnight. Friends disappeared without explanation. She experienced isolation for the first time. The billionaire's influence weakened rapidly. Power no longer impressed the world. Consequences unfolded without mercy. She watched privilege dissolve painfully. Reality taught faster than lectures. She began volunteering quietly at shelters. Cameras were banned intentionally. She served meals without recognition. Humility felt foreign, but grounding. People treated her without fear or admiration. She learned empathy through silence. Each day humbled her deeply. The man watched from a distance occasionally. He saw sincerity slowly replace arrogance. Healing moved cautiously forward. The billionaire faced investigations soon after. Hidden deals surfaced rapidly. Reputation collapsed publicly. He accepted responsibility quietly. He resigned from leadership positions. Wealth remained, but influence died. He acknowledged truth freed him strangely. Fatherhood meant accountability now. He tried rebuilding trust slowly. Redemption required more than apologies. Legacy changed permanently. She returned to the man one evening. She asked if he could forgive her fully. He said forgiveness required action. He said respect must replace entitlement. She nodded without defense. She asked to know him as family. His eyes softened with hesitation. He said trust needed time. He did not reject her request. Hope flickered cautiously between them. They began meeting regularly, without labels. Conversations replaced assumptions. He shared stories of struggle. She listened without judgment. She shared fears without superiority. They learned patience together slowly. Healing progressed without shortcuts. Wealth was no longer mentioned. Humanity replaced hierarchy gradually. A real bond formed from broken truth. Public opinion shifted unexpectedly. People admired her accountability. Redemption stories gained attention. She refused interviews deliberately. Actions spoke louder than apologies. The man encouraged her quietly. He said character was built privately. She embraced anonymity gratefully. Power felt unnecessary now. Meaning replaced dominance. Identity rebuilt itself honestly. 1 year later, they stood together publicly. Not at a gala, but a community center. She spoke humbly about consequences. She acknowledged her past cruelty. Applause came quietly, not forced. The man stood beside her silently. The billionaire watched from the back. Pride gave way to humility finally. Truth reshaped their family painfully. Healing became visible. She apologized publicly to those she harmed, not for image, but accountability. Her voice trembled with sincerity. The crowd felt the difference. She said power without empathy destroys. She said wealth tested character harshly. The sentence echoed powerfully. People listened attentively. The man nodded approvingly. Growth completed its painful cycle. The billionaire funded education anonymously. No buildings carried his name. He learned silence was healing. His daughter respected him again cautiously. Trust rebuilt slowly between them. Family dinners felt awkward, but genuine. Mistakes became lessons now. Pride no longer led conversations. Humility governed their future together. Truth anchored every decision firmly. Years passed quietly without spectacle. The daughter lived simply by choice. She married without grandeur or press. Love mattered more than status. The man attended proudly as her father. The billionaire stood beside him respectfully. No resentment remained openly. Forgiveness replaced bitterness gradually. Pain transformed into wisdom permanently. The past no longer defined them. She often reflected on the sentence. One sentence shattered illusion. One sentence rebuilt her humanity. She never forgot the moment. Spitting on him haunted her memory. Shame became her teacher. She taught others through example. Arrogance no longer survived in her presence. She guarded humility fiercely. Lessons once learned never faded. The man found peace he never expected. Truth lifted a lifelong burden. He regained a daughter unexpectedly. Though years were lost forever, he chose presence over resentment. Love filled gaps money never could. His dignity remained intact throughout. Justice felt quiet and heavy. Closure arrived without celebration. Peace replaced anger finally. The billionaire accepted his fall gracefully. He learned legacy was not wealth. It was honesty and accountability. He rebuilt relationships privately. Power was replaced by purpose. Regret softened into responsibility. His daughter forgave him gradually. Time repaired what money could not. Redemption required humility, not influence. He accepted that truth fully. The story spread as a warning. Power without empathy destroys identity. Humiliation always returns with consequences. Truth never stays buried forever. One sentence can destroy illusion. One choice can rebuild character. Audiences learned from their pain. Redemption became the real climax. Justice did not shout, it whispered. Humanity always wins in the end. The billionaire's daughter never forgot that night. The poor man was never poor again, not because of money, but because dignity restored his life. The sentence destroyed her world once, but truth rebuilt it stronger. Consequences reshaped every future choice. Pride died so wisdom could live. Their lives became testimony to accountability, and humility became their greatest wealth. Join the family, subscribe now, so you don't miss the next and the next. We drop powerful stories that hit deep.